AJ Shaw. Glad to be back with everyone here today. I'm joined today by 5 amazing seniors. Raphiel Stewart, wide receiver, who's committed to Valparaiso. Noah Sir, who's committed to Northwestern. We got Jamen Williams, who's committed to the University of Indiana at Indianapolis. Tommy Thies, who is committed to Miami of Ohio. And Logan Schultz, who is committed to Johns Hopkins. So, gentlemen, thanks for being with us here today.
Thank you.
Also, congratulations on winning the state championship, beating East St. Louis. I wanted to kind of just start out and ask you first off, what moment do you think best defined your season?
Yeah, I'll start. I think the moment that defined our season was the week of practice after the Montini week.
Mm-hmm.
We coming off a tough loss, being our first loss of the year, and just the way we bounced back and the energy we had at practice because of the team that we knew we were capable of being. We just came every day with a fresh slate and a fresh mindset, knowing like the type of team that we can be, and just seeing like all our guys buying into the process and making sure like that, like we know what the standard is, and just raising the bar extra at practice that week really, I think, was a big moment in our season to give us a good push the rest of the regular season and then into the playoffs.
I think a big moment for me was definitely the last offensive play of the season against East St. Louis. It was the fourth quarter, about 2 minutes left, and we were already up by 3 and made the ball like for 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we just ran an inside run play, and Jamen kind of got stuck to the line. But then we had all the linemen. We had some receivers in the running back pile in there and push him over and get him in. And I think that really demonstrated like how unified our team was and how we all came together to make this season happen.
I would say versus Nazareth Academy in the semifinals, it's something similar to Logan's, but it was on the defensive side of the ball. They just scored in overtime and they went for it on 2, and then they ran the ball and they stuck them. Defense stuck them at the line, and we won the game. So that was just a big moment for me, and that's what defined our season.
I think a big moment was in the off-season weight room, starting off the brotherhood off early. At least 60 kids coming to work out, cheer each other on, and start a brotherhood early in the off-season. I would agree with Jamen. I think the Naz game was really significant for our season. Like that feeling that we had when we rushed the field. It was something I never really felt before, and I feel like it just like made me realize how special our team was.
So why did you guys choose to come to Fenwick?
I chose to come to Fenwick because, I was kind of born into it.
Yeah.
My dad's the athletic director here at Fenwick, and then my brother also goes here, and my mom went here, my stepmom. So, like, I have, like, uncles and aunts who went here. So I've kind of just been born into it, coming to games as, like, a young child, and, like, through middle school, just, like, seeing, like what I wanted to be a part of. And then I played youth with some of these guys over here and trying to get them to come to Fenwick and, like, see, like, the type of team we can be, and just, like, the brotherhood those guys had. And, like, also the education stands out, too. Like, you're setting yourself up in the next stage of life, like, into college and beyond that. So I'm very happy with my decision of coming to Fenwick. And, yeah.
So winning that championship meant a lot.
Yes. I've been coming to games since I was, like, 8 years old that I can remember. Like, I used to have players at my birthday parties when I was younger, and just, like, I could name the whole roster when I was little. So, like,
it's great.
Winning the state championship my senior year with my brother, who's a junior, was just super surreal. And then with some of my lifelong friends, like, I went to kindergarten with Raph, so, like, I've known him forever. So it's just super cool. And then meeting these guys at Fenwick just made the brotherhood even stronger.
I came to Fenwick because like the sports culture and the school culture. I had a sibling that went here, but I really came here because of what the state team did in 2021, and I chased that, and I wanted that too. So I came here and got to play with all these guys, and ever since freshman year, I kind of knew that we were going to be special when we went undefeated And yeah, ever since all the 4 years we had here, a lot of fun and really special group.
Yeah, just a big deciding moment for me was definitely when the 2021 team beat Mass in the state championship. I was just trying to figure things out. I was at a K through 12 school, but they didn't have football, and I didn't even know if I wanted to play football until I started going to some Fenwick things in March, I think. And I was talking to Coach Battaglia and talking to some of the former players, and that's when I really decided that I wanted to be here.
I would say the 2021 state team really got me to come here. Also, Tommy and Rap here pushed me to come here as well because they were just because I was asking them, well, I already know before Tommy was going to go. But I was asking Rap where he was going to go because we played good ball together and he was my receiver, so like I kind of wanted to stay wherever he was at. And then just the education and the culture, and the sports culture here is amazing. So that's why I came.
I came here because I watched the state team like all season long, and then I was chasing that, and then Tommy was a big factor in convincing my mom and letting me come here because it was a big financial like it was big financially, and then yeah, I just wanted to win a state championship. Really, I was just chasing the ring.
So that 21 team, you guys were not in school here yet.
No,
we were in 8th grade.
So that 21 team really kind of stood out to you guys. And I know you mentioned this 25 team. You guys think was even a little more dominant than that team was. It was a pretty good team, though. That team, I think, went undefeated, didn't they?
No, they lost 2 games.
They lost 2 games. All right. So in the middle of the season, you lost back-to-back. You lost to Mount Carmel. You also lost to Carmel. So how are you guys kind of able to regroup after those 2 losses, getting into the end of the season as you went into the playoffs?
I think we had a great like player led like meeting after and coaches like reassuring. Like we lost those 2 games in a row, but I think those games made us better. Just knowing that like it's do or die now, heading into the playoffs. Like it was all or nothing. So I remember I was yelling at the guys after the Carmel game, just like I don't want to experience what I have experienced in the past, sophomore year not making the playoffs, then junior year losing in the second round, and like I knew the type of team we could be. So I think playing those games against those good teams, we didn't bring our best effort, and just seeing the way we responded, showing up at practice with that son and death thing. So just knowing that like at any moment our season could end, and for us it was the most important thing wasn't our season ending, but just keeping our brotherhood alive as long as possible, and that's what ended up happening for us.
Yeah, I think after our Mount Carmel game, a lot of our players got more belief, and everyone, not only like the starters, but the bench players as well, kind of bought in more, and they kind of believed that we could win a state championship. And yeah, they just grew the belief that we could, even though we lost the next game, like we could regroup, grow back stronger, and then go win 5 games in a row.
Yeah, like Noah was saying, the Mount Carmel game definitely got a lot more people on the team to buy into the team and know how good we actually were and how far we were going to go in the playoffs. Because before, we didn't play the best competition all season and we had a pretty good record. But going to Mount Carmel, everyone thought we were going to get smoked because we hadn't really played anyone super legit yet. And keeping it that close with them definitely showed a lot of people on our team how good we were. And then after we lost to Carmel Catholic the week after, there was a big culture shift. I think, like Tommy said, we had a very long player-led meeting. And there was definitely a shift at practice where everyone was more focused and just focused on keeping the team together and staying alive in one more week.
They about said everything. But yeah, the Carmel game, like Logan said, was just a real big shock because I felt like we could have definitely won that game without a doubt. And just losing that game just kind of just set things straight, straighten us out. So, yeah.
I think the Mount Carmel was like a great way to show that like we can win something. And then the Carmel game, it was like a wake up call that we can't lose no more after this. And I think that we needed to lose the Carmel game more to win state championship to get that drive.
Is there a favorite prayer, devotion, or scriptural passage that helps you guys either on the field or in your everyday life?
For me, it's just our Father prayer before games. It's like calming, but at the end, like when we're praying for things, like it gets you fired up and like ready for the moment to like take the field with your brothers next to you. And it's something calm and collected that we do every game, but I think it means more like to our guys than they think it does, because it really like gets us ready right before the national anthem that we're ready to go.
Yeah, I would also say that our father kind of calms your nerves right before the game. You gotta get to regroup. But also, I would say the national anthem, even though it's not a prayer, it's when we do our friars at the end, it's really special. It just gets everyone in the stadium fired up.
Yeah, like they said, I'm a big fan of the All Father, but I also really like team mass. We do team mass night before every game.
Mhm.
I feel like that's a good reminder to everyone that at the end of the day, we're doing this all for God, and whether we win or lose, we just try to glorify God at all times.
What's the name of your guys' chaplain?
Father Battaglia.
Okay.
Yeah, the Our Father before the games is big, but also before, I'd say like we put our like pads on. Me and my dad do a quick prayer before the game. I mean, I pray before like every drive I go out on the field. There's like pictures of me. I pray like right before. I pray like right before I half, or going into the third quarter. I pray going into the third quarter, and if it's a real big game, a real big moment, I just pray. So yeah.
And one more thing along those lines is my meme would always text me a Bible verse before every game. And I remember before East St. Louis, she sent me the whole story about David and Goliath. She typed it out, like the whole thing.
It's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
For me, I would say Jeremiah 29 verse 11. Always be humble because whatever God gives, He can take. And then before every game, I try to put in my mind that I can do all things through God, who strengthens me.
Do you guys have a confirmation name or a saint?
Yeah. My confirmation saint is Saint Joseph. And that was because that's my middle name. And he
Same
like,
here.
and he was like a hardworking man, like manual labor. So I thought that was a perfect thing for me, just to keep that like in the back of my head.
My confirmation saint was Padre Pio. I think I chose him because he was the patron saint of healing sick people, and then I had been in like a accident kind of when I was younger, and I used him to get through it. My parents got me some things with his name on it, and then I kind of prayed to him.
The next level. You guys are going to college or are going to be playing football. Explain kind of why you chose to go to the schools that you chose to go to.
I chose Miami of Ohio because of the football culture and coaches. I think it has a similar feel to Fenwick of like the guys there that are bought into the process. Like I'm all about the process, and I feel like the plan they had for me stood out. The success they've had in the recent years was another thing that stood out for me. And right when I stepped on campus, it felt like home right away. So I'm just excited to get started, and I can't wait.
I chose Northwestern University because it's very close to home and has great Big Ten football, and they compete, in every aspect of the game, both educationally and academically and athletically, and it just provided a lot of area to improve and develop. That's kind of what the coaches nailed into me when I visited there, that I wanted to develop me as a person and an athlete.
I'm going to Johns Hopkins University, and a big factor in that was definitely the academic side of things there. The team, also the football team there, pushes for excellence. Something that they had a 3.5 team average unweighted this past season.
Yeah.
So academics are big there, and I love all the coaches. I would talk regularly to my line coach and the head coach, and the facilities there were super nice as well.
I'm assuming you're going to go into something with medicine?
No, I'm going into economics.
Oh, okay.
For you, Indy, I would say it's definitely the coaches and the staff. I went down there about 3 times before I committed, and every time I loved it. And there are a lot of guys that I know that are going there from the Chicago Catholic League, so I got a lot of friends going there. And besides the year?
For me, it was the coaches. The coaches seemed like they really wanted to buy in to me and like better me as a human being. And the recruiting class seemed like they really wanted. They were already working together, and that was like the deciding factor.
And you're going to Valparaiso.
Yes.
All right, cool. What is one word that you would use to define this year's team?
I would say determined, because most guys on the team this year that played, or a lot of them, were on our team last year when we lost in the second round to Downers Grove North. That was like a heartbreaking loss because we had a great senior class and a great junior class, but it didn't work out for us. And I just remembered like the amount of kids showing up day one to morning workouts, like ready to work and ready to get back to it, and just like we just had to show up every day, like mindset, and just like the seeing like how we showed up in the summer, fall camp, like we really enjoyed, like at least I know I did, and numerous guys enjoyed every second of the season. So I would say determined.
I would say our season was special. It was kind of full circle ever since freshman year. We've been playing with the same guys for 4 years, and it kind of just felt right that we won state championship because of the success we had freshman and sophomore year. And then obviously we had a tough loss junior year, but it's kind of like our loss against Carmel this year. We kind of turned around and capped it off with the state championship.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say gritty. Our players, we definitely put in a lot of work starting in January with morning lifts. Like they were saying earlier, our attendance was amazing. It was way better than previous years in every workout. We had a ton of guys showing up too all throughout the school year. And then everyone was working as hard as they could all practice, every game, just to get where we were at the end.
So our guests in this segment of the interview, we have the athletic director, Scott Thies. We had his son here earlier. We have the president of the school, Colonel Otto Rutt. Thanks for being here today, sir. And we also have Coach B, Coach Battaglia, Matthew Battaglia. Is that how you say your name?
We do the Americanized version, Battaglia.
Battaglia, all right. Yeah, we'll do the Chicago version. I should have done that. But thank you again for being with us here today, gentlemen. I wanted to start out by asking a little bit about your school. You guys are of the Dominican order, so can you explain that a little bit for our audience?
Okay, the Dominicans are an order that started in the 1200s, so they're steeped in tradition. Humility and faith are a big part of the tradition, and for our school, we have 4 pillars that are foundational for everything that we do: prayer, study, community, and preaching. And it infuses everything that we do, whether it's academics or sports or all of our activities.
And getting over to the athletic side, how are you guys able to use the Catholic faith and incorporate it into your athletics?
I think one of the great things about working at Fenwick is there are many opportunities to incorporate our faith as part of the process of developing young student athletes. We begin typically every game. We'll have a team prayer. Many of our programs will have a mass where they will gather together as a community. Football, I think every Thursday, they would have a mass after school. And it's just a great opportunity for our kids to live their faith through athletics. And it's, we talk about Friar Pride, that's a big part of it, but many games are led by a prayer, and many of them end with a prayer, and it's really important and part of their development here at Fenwick.
And with the football team, you guys have a specific prayer that you guys like to do a lot.
So before every game, after we do our warm-ups in the end zone before the national anthem, our players will lead a Our Father. We have one player who really brings a lot of emotion and passion to the attentions at the end, and he really is vocal when we do our Mary, Our Lady of Victory, pray for us, and the whole team gets up. I think that's what the players were alluding to earlier, where it's calm, and then after that last intention from the prayer, it's game time. And then in addition to that, I don't know of many schools that do a full mass. I know a lot of programs that do chapels and prayers, but one of our traditions that we feel very strongly about is every Thursday before we do a team dinner. Father Petticord, who is our former president here at Fenwick, he's a Dominican priest, and he comes in, and one of his highlights, he likes to brag of his tenure at Fenwick is being the chaplain for the football team. And I think a great thing about those masses that I have noticed is his homilies. His homilies somehow, some way, always hit on different themes that we've been addressing with the players that whole week of practice. And it's really good opportunity to put things in perspective and show the importance of who we are as Friars.
Awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about community programs that you guys get involved in. What are some things that some of the athletes do, and just in general the students do around the school?
All of our students are required to give back and have service hours that they are required to meet, but a lot of our teams and programs take it upon themselves to gather as a team or as a program to give back to the community. So for the football team, as an example, every year they will work with our Dominican priests and visiting cemeteries, local cemeteries, to help clean the grounds and to beautify the spaces. And it's, again, something that they're not required to do, but it's something that teaches them the importance of giving back and to doing things for others that they may not do on their own otherwise. And so it teaches them the importance of that. And that's just one example of many.
And then just in general with the student body, what are some things that they may do?
One of the things that I'd like to highlight, like today, we had an all-school Stations of the Cross, and that involved our expressive arts. And what is really impressive is that the athletes are involved in the music part of it. They're either singing or playing an instrument. They're multi-talented, and it really makes for a great cohesive student body. It's really admirable it takes a lot of courage to be a football player and then to stand in front of all your classmates and sing.
Yes.
One of the things that is really great about Fenwick, and I think unique, this started in the 90s when we went co-ed, and one of the young ladies said, at Fenwick it's cool to be smart. Well, decades later now, it's cool to have faith. And our players are evidencing that on a daily basis, if not hourly basis. It's super motivational.
For sure. Any good singers on the team?
We have some offensive linemen who are in choir. It's always fun when they come up to us before practice and tell us that they have to leave practice a half hour early for a performance to go do, and we work with them and accommodate that. But to go along with the original question, one of the things as a football program that we really focus on is looking at things also from a smaller self perspective as well. And a big core emphasis of this program is becoming the best version of yourself. And part of that is, I tell them all the time, you see a piece of garbage, pick it up, throw it away. Like, let's do those small individual things, great. And that's gonna help provide a better community, and you being the best version of yourself is gonna make this the best society we can.
What kind of role do the students typically play in these programs for community initiatives?
I mean, every single one of our teams, we have captains that are obviously leaders on the team that'll take the initiative to bring kids together. But I think one of the things that our coaches do a great job of is instilling the fact that all of our kids can be leaders. It doesn't mean you're the best football player on the team. Any one of our kids has the ability to take the initiative and to bring kids together, bring their friends together, and to find ways to give back to the community. So it doesn't have to be the best player on the team or the worst player on the team. It's just something that's instilled from our coaches into our kids, and a great part of Fenwick.
Who is the patron saint of the school?
St. Dominic.
McDonald.
And we also talk about we're Thomas, so St. Thomas Aquinas is right there, and St. Catherine Siena. So those three are the core of patron saints, but St. Dominic is our primary
Namesake.
Yes.
So you two are Fenwick grads. You actually played on the football team, both of you did. So winning the school winning the state championship this year, it must have felt a little bit. You had a little bit of a different feeling, I'm guessing, just because you've graduated from the school, you've been a part of the the student body, you've been a part of the academics staff. What was kind of the feeling for both of you winning that state championship as a school?
It was super exciting. I have to say, sincerely, that was one of the most exciting sports events that I can think of. Everything about it was dramatic, from start to finish. The setting, the matchup, how the game was played, the enthusiasm from our players on the field in really adverse conditions, the enthusiasm of all the staff, and all of the showing in the stands. Our faculty was there, the student body was there in mass, and everybody was pouring everything out onto the field, and the players couldn't have performed better under adverse circumstances, and really a tough challenge. So as a former player, I can't think of anything more fulfilling than to see these young men go out there and represent Fenwick in truly a historic way.
Colonel said it really well.
Yes.
I mean, it's not just a game, it's a school event, and such a special opportunity for our community to come together. Obviously, you have the football players on the field, but as Colonel mentioned, we have generations of graduates in the stands that came out on a Tuesday night when it's 10 degrees outside.
It was cold.
Our cheerleaders were there, our dance team was there. Huge thank you to our coaches for leading our kids and getting them to believe we were underdogs heading into the game. As a former Fenwick football player, it brings great pride in seeing, I think, all of us that put on a helmet at one point tried to get there. Most of us never did. 2021 team did, and then this past season we did as well. So Coach Battaglia does a great job with our kids. They have a great culture, and they're gritty, they're tough. They embodied a lot of what Fenwick is all about. And so it was really a special night for Fenwick, and something many of us will never forget.
Colonel, you've only been on the job a couple of years now. What was kind of your mission when you came to Fenwick?
I have a lot of missions, but I have to say right up front, one of my biggest motivations was to come. I knew this was a prayerful community, and that really tipped the scales for me to come up here and join this community of faith and have that, like we were talking about, it's involved in everything. So there's so much greatness that happens here, and so that's my mission, is to keep all of that greatness going in the right direction. There's a lot of work to be done, that's for sure, but with Coach and our director and our staff and our players, it really comes together as a community. What I love watching about these young men is that they embody all of those virtues. They play for each other, they sacrifice for each other, they come together and celebrate together, they expect to make big plays, and they do it, and then they celebrate together. They have the embodiment of faith from the get-go in each other, in our school, our mission, and our religious faith. So that's super exciting for me to step back into this role, to step back to Fenwick and come into this role. And there's greatness happening here, almost on an hourly basis. And I have to say that if you walk around to the classrooms and the hallway, you can feel it, that this place is unique, and that keeps me going.
So, Coach, from the football side of things, how are the players able to show their Catholic faith out on the field, but also off the field as well?
We never think that, and we talk about, we don't expect, God doesn't like us more or less if we win or lose. God wants to see us going out there, giving our best effort and doing something with a lot of fun and joy. And that's something we try and instill in our players. We always try and make time to allow, football done right. It takes a lot of hours. It's a lot of time. The athletes sacrifice a lot of time, but we always find opportunities to have those team masses, make sure that we're not interfering with any masses that our players go to. Like Scott talked about previously, we attempt to go to All Saints Cemetery every year and help clean up a plot that the Dominicans own, where a lot of former Dominicans are buried, which a lot of our players and myself, I find that very impactful. That old saying, all graves go unvisited.
Yes.
A lot of these Dominicans are flown in from all across the country, the world, and that's where they're laid to rest, so they might not have any visitors at their gravesite for a long time. So being able to go there and just clean up the headstones. So, I think you see the faith, it's more of a unconscious awareness of it daily. Like, we know it's there, and we don't need a lot of our kids, with how they're brought up, how they're educated, we don't need to constantly remind them. Like, they already know. They're actually reminding the adults a lot more probably than the adults are reminding them.
That's an awesome statement that you made there. That's great. They're reminding the adults just as much. That's awesome. You're not a grad of Fenwick, you were Marist grad. We were Brother Rice last week, so we were joking about that off the air. But this was your second championship. What was what do you feel like was the difference between winning in 21 and winning this year?
The biggest difference was I started on the job in 2020. I only got to know those kids for 1 year,
and it was a really strange year too.
Yes, it was a really strange year. I was unfortunate not to be able to spend as much time with them as I was with this group. This group came in as freshmen when I was the head coach. So I've known a lot of these kids since even before their freshman year. Like Tommy alluded to, he played with a lot of those guys who played youth football right in our backyard. Tommy was our ball boy in 2021. So having known some of those kids 5-6 years plus, you build a little bit more of a rapport with them and know more about them than just with that one group. But overall, I think about the teams that we didn't win it with more than the teams we did win it with. So that's kind of where my focus is at, and trying to make sure that the big thing for me isn't winning, it's seeing the kids have an opportunity to do something great and achieving that. And for me, the failures as a coach in previous years, not getting those teams to do that, that's what drives me to continue to embrace it, because everyone's hyping up this team, the 2021 team, while 2022 team, 2023 team, 2024 team had a lot of good players too.
Yes.
They were really good teams, and they're just as big of a part of this as the actual guys who were on the field were.
And I know when we were in here, they were talking about just, how great that senior class was for last year. They definitely probably, even though they weren't on the field with you guys that night when you beat East St. Louis, they were definitely there in spirit for sure.
We had one who actually
really?
in Illinois who showed up and was on the sideline barking at the players. But a lot of those failures, we talk about a loss is only a loss if you don't learn from it. So we embrace failures as long as we grow from those learning moments and correcting those failures to make positives happen.
My final question, this is an important one for all of you. To someone out there who might be in 8th grade or 7th grade and looking to come potentially here to Fenwick, why come to Fenwick? What is the reason they should come?
When I was in grade school and I got to see the Fenwick team practice, they had so much enthusiasm and spirit. I said, I want to be a part of that. That they were larger than life, and that spirit is just very palpable. It's something unique. It's, as I say, you can feel it amongst the teams. And then when you get here, every class it is super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
One of and this is unique, and I love telling this story, that one of my classmates says, every class that comes through here thinks they're the best. And the reason why that's so is because each Friar here has so much esteem for their classmates.
Yes.
That they come to the conclusion that nobody can be better than this, because my fellow classmates are awesome. So that respect and that devotion and affection for each other, I think is something that makes this place very special.
I would say, I mean, there's so much that I love about Fenwick, and I'm seeing it now as a father, but you know, for me, it comes down to the fact that when I came to Fenwick, I didn't come from a family of lawyers, doctors, educators. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. But as soon as I got to Fenwick, you could tell there were standards, there was discipline, there were high expectations. You were surrounded by students that worked hard, that cared for one another, teachers that expected you to tuck in your shirt, have your tie up, like basic skills that now I see it with, as a dad, I have 3 kids here right now, my 2 boys that played in the football program. Like, we have coaches that care about kids. Winning is great, but the culture that's established that continues to kind of feed the mission of the school is super important. And I think it pushes our kids to get out of their comfort zone. So they're learning these life skills. It might be in athletics, it might be in the classroom, but there's a reason why so many of our graduates have lifelong friends that were established here at Fenwick. They went through a period of 4 years that wasn't easy. They learned a lot about who they were, and they had a shared experience that was so valuable to them that they continue to come back, but that they have these relationships that were formed during their 4 years here that, you know, help them in life through the twists and turns that come. It's really a special place, and I could talk for 20 more minutes about that, but I mean, these are 2 people that are a big part of that, continuing that great tradition of excellence here at Fenwick.
I'll jump on, and obviously my pitch is a little bit more athletic football related. And I'm a little bit younger than both Colonel and Scott, and since I was in high school,
You all look great, by the way.
society has changed a whole lot, some for good, some could argue for worse, but either way, I feel like there's been an emphasis on trying to make things easy. The one thing that is great about football and gets a lot of people coming back to football to coach and supporting the team's future seasons is because football was tough. Football isn't made to be easy. And as a lot of things in society are shifting to try and optimize things and make things as easy as possible, Fenwick still embraces the hard. And that's why I tell parents all the time, like, their kids, when they come to Fenwick, it's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy because we want to develop them and challenge them to become the best versions of themselves, to have as much future success as possible. I think one of the things that you see in college sports everyone talks about is the transfer portal. And
Yes.
you see it trickling down to all levels of sports, even travel teams now, and then it's just, you see youth kids who played on 8 different travel teams in 8 years. One thing I'll say about this past Fenwick team is not a single starter on that team, and honestly, I think in the junior and senior class, there was not one transfer on the field. These are Fenwick kids. That's not saying that we have a family that wants to come to Fenwick that transfers in. We've had those, and we've had a lot of success with those kids. But Fenwick, as a football program, we're going to develop them into being the best person they are. We're not interested in having an all-star team of 5-star prospects. We'll have 5-star prospects come in, and we love having them, but it's really rewarding to see a lot of just gritty, tough, hard-nosed players who have dreams and aspirations and helping them achieve those dreams. And that's who we are as a program. We're not going to sacrifice our values to win a football game. We believe that those go hand in hand.
I like that a lot. That's a great way to finish. Well, gentlemen, again, it was a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so much for having us out here at Fenwick High School. And again, we hope to see you the weekend of Pentecost, Saturday, May 23rd at the Forester in Lake Forest. We'll be inducting you again into the Sports Faith International Hall of Fame. Thank you so much, guys, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.